So our first topic, we're supposed to start with the basics of the transmission line. We're supposed to go with the little bit review about this transmission line. So what does this transmission line mean? We all know the transmission line is a kind of medium where the electrical signals are being propagating. So it is a physical medium. It is a conducting medium where the electrical signal or the electron flow exists. So our household also having some transmission line, that is our wires which has been connected with all the appliances. The roadside also we are having the transmission line where the electrical supplies are been coming from the source itself. So this transmission line is applicable for low frequency signal as well as for the high frequency signal. So the thing is, when we supposed to shift from the low frequency to high frequency, the properties of the transmission line are been changing. So how it has been changing, let us consider. While this conducting wire has been used for propagating all those signals, it's supposed to have the resistance. So let us consider, when we supposed to have the 220-volt signal we're supposed to have for our all the appliances, the conducting wires which are having the good conducting property, it's supposed to have the little amount of resistance, either it is inductance or like this. And when these two wires are been separated by a small distance, is supposed to have the conducting conductance as well as some capacitive effect also. But when we supposed to have the high frequency operations, so obviously we know that these reactants are directly depending upon the frequency. So for the higher frequency, the inductance will be higher. For the higher frequency, the capacitance will be low. But still, we can say that it's supposed to have some reactive effect on the transmission line. How? We supposed to have the signals. So while these signals have been propagating on those transmission line, the reactive inductance comes into picture. We supposed to have certain storing capability. It's supposed to store some of the energy. So let us consider, for high frequency operation, an antenna has been connected with 1 dB of the signal. So it itself is very low. Power itself is very low. So while it has been propagating, so if some energy is getting lost, so obviously from the source which has been tends to be received at the receiver with the full efficiency, the efficiency is getting decreased. So transmission line, specifically when we supposed to shift from low frequency to high frequency, we supposed to have so many disturbances, so many losses comes into picture. So by a single word, if I say that what is transmission line, a transmission line is basically consists of two or more parallel conductors used to connect a source to a load. It is a basic kind of definition, you can say. It is a transmission line. A transmission line basically consists of two or more parallel conductors used to connect a source to a load. So a transmission line, this is called transmission, TX, RX for the reception. A transmission line basically consists of two or more parallel conductors used to connect a source to a load. Okay, so the source may be an generator, hydroelectric generator, a transmitter, or an oscillator. Any kind of source may be possible, or load may be any kind of factory. A big load has been connected to the transmission line for high voltage signals, an antenna, or a oscilloscope. Anything can be possible. So this transmission line can include an coaxial cable, also transmission line, a two-way transmission line, a parallel plate or a planar line. It can also be possible. A wire above the conducting plane, it is also been possible. And a PCB board where two metallic plates are being separated by a dielectric material, that can be a transmission line. Let us consider, you supposed to have this plate. Here it is having some conducting plane. Below it, it is also having some conducting plane. So these two conducting planes are being separated by a dielectric material. This is the dielectric material. So that can be a transmission line. So anything where a source and load is been connected, we can say is acting as a transmission line. So what are the different parameters of a transmission line? Transmission line parameters. Like it's supposed to have the resistance per unit length. It's supposed to have the inductance per unit length. It's supposed to have conductance per unit length. It's supposed to have capacitance per unit length. So resistance R per unit length, then inductance L per unit length, then conductance G per unit length, then it may have capacitance C per unit length. So these are the different parameters of a transmission line. Basically these parameters are been comes into picture when we are been going with high frequency operation. But for the low frequency operation, let us consider for the 50 Hz power supply. For that case, these parameters are not that much prominent. Why? Because we supposed to have high voltage signal and low frequency operation. So itself it is having quite higher or quite longer wavelength. So for that case, these parameters are not that much prominent for the low frequency operation. Now, these line parameters, that is basically RLGC, are not discrete when we have been coming into picture. That's why I have been mentioned that it is having the value per unit length. So obviously if the length of the wire are been increasing, so obviously this resistance, inductance, conductance and the capacitance will increase. So this line parameter, first point, the line parameter RLGC are not discrete. Discrete sense, in a sense, you have been finding that resistance in a small ceramic portion on the lab where it's supposed to have the color bands. So resistance, if we have been considering some resistance, something like that. So here some color bands are been exist, right? It is either 3 band, 4 band, this color band. So we have been saying that yes, within this portion we supposed to have either it is 1K, 2K or 3K, whatever it is. We are not at all been considering what are the resistance of these leads which have been connected at the two ends of that ceramic portion. So it is sense, in the sense we can say that it is discrete in nature, means within this portion it's supposed to have the particular resistance value. But while we have been coming for the high frequency operation, this resistance, whatever the wire we supposed to have, throughout the length of the wire, the total resistance is, it has been distributed throughout the length. Let us consider if it is having the physical length of 5 centimeter, then if we are saying that it is of 1K RF resistor, radio frequency resistor, then within that 5 centimeter all of the resistance are been distributed. So that are known as lumped elements. They are not at all discrete elements. Sorry, they are distributed element. They are not at all discrete or lumped element. They are distributed elements. So line parameters RLGC are not discrete or lumped elements, rather they are distributed elements. They are, who has been having the microphone, just disable your microphone first. Who has enabled your microphone? Who has enabled your microphone? Lakshmi Ravichandra. Lakshmi Ravichandra, disable your mic. So they are known as distributed elements. They are not discrete or lumped. Lumped means within this portion, or discrete means within this portion. They are distributed throughout the length. So parameters are uniformly distributed throughout the length of the wire. They are distributed. So we can say, by this we mean that the parameters means either it is R, L, G or C are uniformly distributed along the entire length of the line. Entire length of the line. They are distributed. So for each line, the conductors are characterized by some other parameters like conductivity, permeability, permittivity, all those things. Second point, for each line, for each different line, either it is a different kind of, either it is a parallel line transmission line, either it is in coaxial cable, either it is in microstrip line. For different kind of transmission line, it's supposed to be characterized by different parameters like conductivity, like permeability, like permittivity, and dielectric separating the two conductors. Characterized by sigma C, that is conductivity, then permeability, permittivity, and the dielectric separating the conductor. Separating the conductor. So especially for this diagram, if I say this top here, it is having one conducting plane, let us it is having the copper, this bottom plane also having some copper, and these two copper plates are being separated by some material. So this material is called dielectric material. So it may have different kinds of material depending upon the permittivity value, epsilon value. So we can say it depends upon the dielectric. Now let us consider if two transmission line are been situated, parallel transmission line are been having the connection from the source to load on a free space. So obviously these two transmission line are been separated by free space. So this free space is also having certain dielectric value. Okay, the conductors. Now here we know that conductance is the inverse of the resistance, but for this case conductance is not at all same as 1 by R. G is not is equals to 1 by R. So here R is the resistance per unit length, I'll give you the diagram how this conductance comes into picture of the conductor. It is the value per unit resistance per unit length of the value, that is resistance per unit length of the conductor. Conductor means the conducting element which is been used for having the transmission line, and this G is the conductance. It is not at all the conductance due to this transmission line. This is due to the dielectric separating the conductors. Is the conductance per unit length due to the dielectric, this dielectric value or this dielectric material which has been exist between these two transmission line, dielectric medium separating the conductor. That's why this G is not due to the conductor where this signal has been flowing, rather this G is due to the medium which has been separating these two conductors. Okay, now let us consider we supposed to have a transmission line, two-way transmission line. Let us consider it is like this. It's supposed to have certain radius of this transmission line for each of the conductor. So on this transmission line, what I said that we're supposed to have resistance, inductance, capacitance and conductance as well. So let us consider the resistance and inductance is due to the conductor of the wire. It is the resistance, it's supposed to have inductance, resistance, inductance, resistance, inductance, like this. Okay. So what has been, for throughout the length this resistance is distributed, for throughout the length this inductance is distributed. Now for throughout the length we are supposed to have the conductance as well. It's supposed to have the capacitance as well. It's supposed to have the conductance, it's supposed to have the capacitance, conductance, capacitance. For this wire, same, it's supposed to have the resistance, it's supposed to have the inductance, it's supposed to have the resistance, it's supposed to have the inductance, like this. Okay, so this is your R, this is your L, this is your again R, this is your L, like this. This is your G, this is your C, this is again G, it is C, G, C. So throughout the length it's supposed to have the distribution of all the parameters. So this is known as distributed parameter of two conductor transmission line. Over transmission line. So when we have been comes into picture where we are dealing with high frequency, we are supposed to take into consideration all of the parameter. It is resistance, inductance, conductance and capacitance. But when we have been going with low frequency operation, we are not been considering all these parameters, because for the signal itself is quite having quite higher amplitude. So all those parameters, if small losses are also there, then it is having no that much of effect on the total power level. Now let us consider for the high frequency operation, we supposed to have the EM waves. For high frequency operation, when the power signals are been propagating, it's supposed to have the electromagnetic waves, right? So these electromagnetic waves are time varying. It is consisting of time varying electric field as well as magnetic field, right? It is having the electric field, time varying electric field. From the Maxwell's equations we know, for the time varying electric field will produce time varying magnetic field. So as a whole we are supposed to have the electromagnetic wave. Okay, so it's supposed to have the phenomenon of both time and space. It is depending upon xyz and t as well, e to the power j omega t. It's supposed to have the variation of t as well. It is supposed to have the variation with space coordinates as well as the time coordinates, right? But at low frequency, I'm just talking about till now, I just talk about the high frequency. But at low frequency, since the size of the circuit elements are negligible, because for the low frequency, let us consider for the 50 hertz, the wavelength is quite higher. So for the low frequency operation, the size of the circuit elements are negligible compared to the wavelength. So the effect of space is generally ignored, because whatever the time it takes to propagate for 5 centimeter, let us consider we supposed to have the 50 hertz signal, f is 50 hertz. So for this case, if we need to find out wavelength is lambda equals to c by f. C is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second by f is 50. So just try to think, if we supposed to have the 306 into 10 to the power 7 meter, right? So that much of big wavelength is. So for that much of wavelength means for a single sine signal, that is the total length. For the 50 Hertz frequency signal. So if we supposed to have a 5 centimeter length of a resistance, so how much time it will take to propagate from this A point to B point? Within the time we have been giving the switch, at that moment we supposed to have the bulb which has been connected at the B point, it's supposed to glow. So it will take a very negligible amount of time to propagate from one point to another point for the low frequency signal. That's why for the low frequency signal we are been considering the space coordinates. So a circuit which is characterized by some electrical parameters. So low frequency signals, circuit performance, if the circuit performance is having electrical, it is depending upon some electrical value, then their physical size are not at all been considered. For the low frequency signal, their efficiency or the performance is not at all been decided by their physical size. But it is not at all been true for the high frequency signal. So for the high frequency signal where the wavelength itself is 10 centimeter or 5 centimeter, so for the 5 centimeter signal, for a sine wave it is having 5 centimeter of length. So obviously for the 5 centimeter length of the resistance, it will take a 1 second of time to propagate from A point to B point. So for this case the propagation delay comes into picture. Right, for that case the propagation delay comes into picture. So that effect where the propagation delay comes into picture, that effect is known as transit time effect. Okay, so the signal requires a finite amount of time to travel along an electrical circuit. Right, for the low high frequency signal, let us consider for f is equals to 1 gigahertz. So for that case, what will be lambda c by f? C is 10 to the power, let us consider 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second by 1 gigahertz, that is 10 to the power 9. Right? So 10 to the power 9 means it's supposed to have the 10 to the power, it is having 30 centimeter. Right? It is having 30 centimeter. So obviously for the 5 centimeter of length, how much time it will take? For the 5 centimeter of length, we supposed to, so if it has been propagating for within 1 second, it's 30 centimeter has been propagating by within 1 second, then we're supposed to take 1/5 of time. Right, for the 5 centimeter length it's supposed to take 1/6 of the time. So it's supposed to take some finite value of time for propagating from point A to B. So for that case the propagation delay comes into picture, or that effect due to which the propagation delay is coming into picture, that is known as transit time effect. Transit time effect means on the transition, while it is the wave is been on transition, it's supposed to take some specific or some finite value of time. So that effect is known as transit time effect. So for that case, let us consider if we are having this sine signal. So if we have been having the source, we have been having the switch which we have been on during at this point, when the signal has been arrived at that point, we have been switch it on. So while it has been propagating throughout the resistance of length 5 centimeter, it's supposed to take 1/6 of time. So within 1/6 of time, we're supposed to have the signal from this point to this point within 1 second. So 1/6 of time, somewhat if we have been taking it is half. Then let us consider at this point, while it's supposed to be propagating from this point to this point, the signal phase is been at that point. So let us consider it is T0, this one is T1. So when this signal supposed to move from this point to this point, the phase value is been changing from 0 to this value. So phase value is changing for the signal which supposed to propagate from 5 for a 5 centimeter length of wire, it's supposed to change its phase. So for that case, this transit time effect is quite prominent or quite important to understand why this transit time effect comes into picture. Because what we want for the high frequency, for the low frequency signal, while we are having this much of higher length of wave we supposed to have, so the moment we have been switching on, if the signal is been given at this value, that is at T0 time, we are being switched on, the signal will arrive at that same point Why? Because it's supposed to have quite higher amount of wavelength. So we have been switching on at that moment. So it's supposed to take 1 second to propagate at that much of length, this much of length. So if we supposed to be given a 5 centimeter of length, so the moment we have been switched on, at that moment the signal will be arrived at the another point, though there is no phase change, because the t0 itself is the time when it's supposed to be coming to this point, because it takes only 1 second to move this big amount of distance. So how much time it will take to move a 5 centimeter? Very negligible amount of time. But for this case, if we are having 30 centimeter of length which has been covered within 1 second, so obviously it's supposed to have some finite value to cover 1/6 of this, so within 1/6 it's supposed to have different phase value rather at the origin. So for that case, the transit time effect is quite prominent or quite important for the high frequency signal. So that's why we need to take into consideration the time coordinate, the time value we need to consider for the high frequency signal. So always this transmission line is having the distributed elements. Let us consider for the 5 centimeter it's supposed to have, for this value here, if we have been given the origin, so while it has been having the 30 centimeters, so let us consider it is having this phase. So obviously this phase value will supposed to give different impedance value. It's supposed to give different impedance value. Rather at the origin, if it is having due to this phase, it's supposed to have some impedance. While it is having this phase, obviously the impedance value of the signal will be changing due to some load. So that's why the distributed elements comes into picture. So for this length, what is the total impedance? But if we are having that much of big wavelength, so obviously for this length, the time at which we have been switched on, the same value we're supposed to have at that point also. So this impedance for the low frequency signal are not at all that much of important to understand. So that is why the concept of distributed elements comes into picture. So this is the somewhat structure for a two-way transmission line. So everywhere throughout the line it's supposed to have the distributed elements. Everywhere for each amount of length, each unit of length, it's supposed to have a distributed elements. For a small value of the wire, it's supposed to have some distributed elements. Either it is resistance, inductance, conductance, or capacitance. Fine. So this kind of model we need to use for the analysis of the transmission line at the high frequency signal. So this kind of analysis can be carried out by taking different kind of model. Different kind of model. This is also one kind of model. Let us consider we supposed to subdivide our transmission line into a small portion, very small portion. So let us consider it is having the delta x of length. So this kind of model, for a delta x of length, we supposed to have different kind of model for the two-way transmission line like this. Also it is possible inductance, resistance, then it's supposed to have the conductance, capacitance. So what we have understood, that we need to consider that parameters, all the four parameters for throughout the length. So if this length is of delta x, so we need to consider this R is for delta x, this L is for delta x, this C is for delta x, and this G is also for the delta x. So in the same way we can take another model also like this. This is also for the delta x length, R into delta x. So both sides they will get added. So it's supposed to be G by 2 delta x, C by 2 delta x is G by 2 delta x is C by 2 delta x. So different kind of models can be possible. So this one is, let us consider R by 2 delta x, L by 2 delta x, L by 2 delta x, r by 2 delta x, g into delta x, c into delta x, like this. Or it may have the model something like this also. L into delta x, r into delta x, it is c delta x, g delta x. So for all the portions we have been considered that it is having the length of delta x only. So this is the lumped equivalent of infinitesimal section of a transmission line. Infinitesimal section, very small section, let us consider. So whatever the subdivision we can do for a transmission line, how much small portion we can consider, how much very small, whatever the smallest portion you can think of, for that smallest portion also you can have these four parameters. For the high frequency signal, whatever the smallest portion you can assume, whatever the value, for all of that smallest portion you supposed to have all those four parameters. Section of transmission line. Okay, so whatever the concept, I just make you understand that for the that transit time effect, for the high frequency signal it's supposed to take some specific amount of time. For the low frequency signal it's supposed to take a negligible amount of time to propagate for a specific length of transmission. So let us solve a problem that will make you more give you the more clear view about this. So I'm just giving a problem depending upon this transit time effect. A two conductor transmission line is 10 centimeter long. They have been saying that the transmission line is of 10 centimeter long. A sinusoidal signal of 1 volt peak amplitude is applied to one end of the line. So at one end of the line it has been given 1 volt peak amplitude value, a sinusoidal signal. If the signal travels on the line with a speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, find a point transit time on the line, then B point frequency at which the transit time is 10% of the signal period. 10% of the signal period. C is signal voltage on the other end of the line at an instant when the input signal is passing through positive maximum of a frequency of 500 megahertz. So try to understand what is the problem. They are saying that we are having a 10 centimeter length of two-wire conducting transmission line. Two-wire conductor transmission line. We are having the 10 centimeter physical length. So a sinusoidal signal of 1 volt peak amplitude is applied at one end of the signal of the transmission line, and 1 volt peak amplitude sinusoidal signal is been applied. So if the signal travels on the line with a speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, so they are saying that the propagation speed of that signal on the transmission line is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So first thing, we need to find the transit time on the line. So transit time means if the signal is been propagating with this speed, so how much time it will take to reach at another point of a 10 centimeter long transmission line. That is what they have been asked. What is the transit time it requires to propagate this signal with a speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second for a 10 centimeter length long. So obviously it is very easy to find out. Time, it is the length by the distance by the velocity, we can easily find, right? Second point, frequency at which the transit time is 10% of the signal period. At which frequency the transit time will become only 10% of the signal period, right? So we need to find out the signal period here also. Third point, signal voltage on the other end. Signal voltage on the other end. So while it has been propagating, so what's supposed to be the signal voltage on the other end of the line at an instant when the input signal is passing through the positive maximum of the frequency of a frequency of 500 megahertz. Signal voltage on the other end. So if we supposed to have this transmission line, so the signal voltage what we require at this point is that the signal voltage at the other end of the line at an instant when input signal is passing through positive maximum. So what's supposed to be the signal voltage at the other end when the input signal is been at the this end, this left side end, it is having the positive maximum for a frequency of 500 megahertz. So if we are having a source with 500 megahertz of signal, so what's supposed to be the signal voltage at this end for a 10 centimeter length line when it's supposed to have the positive maximum? So like this, it's supposed to have the positive maximum for a signal of 500 megahertz, right? So if we have been connecting an 500 megahertz signal at this end, so what's supposed to be the other end voltage level if it's supposed to have the positive maximum at the input for a 10 centimeter length line? That is what we need to find out. Understood? The problem is clear? Everyone understood? What is the problem? So first thing, we need to find out what is the transit time we require to have the propagation of a signal with the speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second for in the 10 centimeter length transmission line. So it is very easy. We can easily find out transit time. Transit time, let us consider it is Tx. It is length of the line by the velocity. Length of the line by velocity. So what is the length of the line? It is 10 centimeters. So let us consider it is 0.1 meter. And velocity is 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So how much time it will take? So it's supposed to have the 0.5 nanosecond. 0.5 nanosecond only it will take to propagate in a 10 centimeter long transmission line with speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Next point, we need to find frequency at which transit time is 10%. Transit time is 10% of the signal period, right? So we supposed to have the transit time should be 10% of the period of the signal period T. That is, this Tx transit time supposed to be 10% of T, that is 0.1 of T. So what is this? t, t is tx by 0.1, right? So it is 10 tx. So we know what is the transit time, it is 0.5 nanosecond, so it will become 5 nanosecond. So this is the period, right? So from the period we can easily find out what is the frequency. That is what they've been asked. They have been asked frequency at which. So what is the frequency? F is 1 by t. So it's supposed to be 200 megahertz. So at this frequency, if the signal which has been sinusoidal signal, if it is having the 200 megahertz of frequency, then it will take only 10% of the transit time to propagate from one point to another point on a 10 centimeter length of line. Next, the third point, the signal voltage on the other end. The signal voltage on the other end of the line at an instant when the input signal is passing through the positive maximum. So let us consider the signal which has been given at the input. It's supposed to have the configuration of like this. Let the signal voltage be given as Vt is equals to A cos twice by Ft. This volt. Let us consider. So here it is having the peak amplitude of 1 volt. It is already given. So this A will be 1 volt. Here the signal frequency is 500 megahertz. F is 500 megahertz, right? So what is the Vt? Therefore Vt will become cos, it is 2 into 5 is 10, then it's supposed to become gigahertz. So 10 to the power 9 pi t, right? So let us consider the instant. So we need to find out the signal voltage on the other end of the line at an instant when input voltage is passing through the maximum. So let us consider that instant is t is equals to 0. Taking the instant as t is equals to 0 when the input voltage Vt is 1 volt, the signal at the other end on the line will corresponds to so how much time it will take from 0 to, so it will having the transit time of tx, right? So it's supposed to take from t is equals to 0 to tx, it's supposed to take some specific time. Let us consider it is t. So corresponds to 0 minus tx is equals to that time t, the time how much it will take. So the time requirement is t is equals to minus of tx. So the voltage at the other end of the line is cos of, we supposed to take minus of tx, right? Minus 10 to the power 9 pi tx, or it will become cos of tx is, we have been found it is as 5 nanosecond, right? 5 nanosecond. So it's supposed to be 5 into 10 to the power 9 minus of 10 to the power 9 pi into 5 nanosecond, that is 5 by 10 to the power 9, right? So how much it is? right? Sorry, it is 0.5, not 5, it is 0.5. So it's supposed to be 10 to the power 10, 0.5 nanosecond. So it's supposed to be, this is the transit time, 0.5 nanosecond for the original signal, which has been moving with this velocity. So it's supposed to be cos of minus pi by 2, which is 0 volt. This point is clear or not? Just try to understand. We need to find out the signal voltage at the another end, when at the input end we supposed to have the positive maximum. So obviously the input end is in the positive maximum, or the we have been thinking if the signal is at the t is equals to 0 or the at the origin. So obviously we supposed to have the cosine signal, right? At the origin it's supposed to have the positive maximum. So we can think of a cosine signal. If it's supposed to have the 0 value, then we can think of a some sine signal. So as it is having the positive maximum at the input end, we have been thinking of the cosine signal. So it is given that it's supposed to have a signal frequency of 500 megahertz and the amplitude itself is given as 1 volt. So we are having this kind of configuration. So let us consider at the input when it's supposed to be has the maximum positive maximum, we have been considering at t is equals to 0 instant. So it will take the time of that transit time. What is the transit time? This 0.5 nanosecond is the transit time, which has been moving with this speed within a length of the transmission line is 0.1 meter. So it's supposed to take zero point 0.5 nanosecond. So it will take from 0 up to 0.5 nanosecond, it will propagate within this time. It will take that t amount of time to propagate from 0 to up to the transit time, right? So it's supposed to take from the positive maximum up to the transit time, it's supposed to have this value. So if this is the configuration of the input signal that is having the cosine form, so this is the voltage it's supposed to have for a signal which is supposed to take some configuration of cosine value. It is having the configuration of cosine value and it will take the transit time to propagate with a 500 megahertz of the frequency. For a 500 megahertz of frequency, if we have been connecting, let us consider we supposed to have a source. We supposed to have a source of f is equals to 500 megahertz. We have been given this one to a resistance. So it says if this input side is having the positive maximum, then what will be the voltage level at the another end for this signal with a frequency of 500 megahertz to propagate from this on this transmission line of length 10 centimeter. So input side we supposed to have the positive maximum. With this frequency it's supposed to take some time. So within that time, when it will reach at this point, what's supposed to be the input voltage level? That is what we need to find out. So this is the input voltage level. So what we have been derived that it's supposed to, obviously the 10 centimeter length, it's supposed to take the some time. That time is the transit time. We have been found that one as 0.5 nanosecond. So if for the 0.5 nanosecond, if it recurs for a 500 megahertz of signal, when it will reach at this point after 0.5 nanosecond, it's supposed to have the voltage level of 0. It's supposed to have the voltage level of 0. Understand? Clear? Isn't it? Or another way also we can think. Let us consider in a separate way that wavelength of the signal. What is the wavelength? Wavelength of the signal with f 500 megahertz and yes, yes, I'm not getting 2 by 5. Hello. And it's supposed to have the propagation speed of 2 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, right? So for this case, for this frequency, what is the wavelength? While it has been moving with this speed, 2 into 10 to the power 8. 2 into 10 to the power 8, it is the speed, and it is having the frequency of 500 megahertz, right? 10 to the power 6. So it's supposed to have the 40 centimeter of wavelength. But our transmission line length is 10 centimeter. So wavelength, it is having 40 centimeter. So transmission line length is 10 centimeter. So obviously we can say to travel 40 centimeter of distance, signal require 1 second, right? So obviously how much time it will take for 10 centimeter? It's supposed to be 10 by 40, right? It is 1 by 4 of the second. So if we go with the graphical representation for the cosine signal, for the cosine signal, it's supposed to be like this, right? It's supposed to be like this. Okay, so this is the middle point. If we recur up to this, if it is recur 1 second, total second, so up to this it's supposed to be reached within 0.5. It's supposed to be, this point supposed to be 0.75, this point supposed to be 0.25. So this is the graphical representation, while it's supposed to be recur 0.25 second. So within this 0.25 second it will reach the another point of the 10 centimeter length transmission line. So this is the phase value of the signal. So this is the amplitude level. This amplitude level is 0 voltage. That is what we have been derived. Clear? So I am concluding up to this for today.